friends from the industry, ladies and gentlemen. You know, being a parent, I have always thought that, you know, parenting is the hardest job in the world. But coming from such a good lunch in the summer afternoon, I think getting back to you guys to the room and then keeping you awake is probably going to be even tougher. And then I believe that all the technical jargons which these guys are going to use in their sessions is going to make their job or this job even more tougher. But on a serious note, I would say that what the telecom service providers in India, they have done in last 18 months to create the 5G coverage across the length and breadth of India. I think this is nothing actually, it's not a joke. India's ranking in terms of the mobile broadband speed, which is measured by Ookla Speed Test Index, actually has really jumped the highest in the world. If you look at the Sir Shah's digital quality of index, right? So this is a good measure of actually looking at the overall health of the digital economy, right? So the entire improvement last year was actually contributed by the improvement in the mobile broadband related KPIs. So this is what essentially happened in last 18 months. Also, the government of India, I would say they have played a very key and enabler role with the forward-looking policies and which actually has helped to create this digital superbase. And, I think in the previous sessions it already came up, the 5G monetization, right? This remains a challenge. This is a challenge industry-wide, not just in India. This is a challenge worldwide. But again, there has been some innovative work done over here by the government of India. So funding of the 100 5G labs, which actually is supposed to be creating relevant use cases for India. I think this is very exciting. This is very helpful and will be also useful as the technology evolves towards 6G. Now, I would say that all these collaborative efforts, right? I mean, whether from industry, academics, and the government side, they have really helped create the fast adoption of 5G in India, right? And then 5G is now, I would say, that a real enabler platform for the digital economy in India. Now, at this good juncture of 5G, then why talk about 6G? I mean, I talked about my kids in the beginning, and as usual, right, my daughter, the younger one, she said, okay, yeah, I mean, I just telling her that I'm going to this conference, and she obviously came up, okay, then let's ask ChatGPT. Before I could respond, she actually keyed in and asked, right, why 6G? And I'll just read out what ChatGPT actually threw, right? So it actually says, the necessity of 6G ultimately depends on the evolution of technology needs and societal demands. If current and emerging technology outgrow the capabilities of 5G, 6G will be necessary to bridge the gap. Many potential applications of 6G are not fully envisioned yet. Historically, new generation of technology have spurred unforeseen innovations and economic opportunities. For nations and companies, leading in 6G development can provide significant strategic and competitive advantage. And the conclusion of the entire text was that while the immediate need of 6G might not be apparent to the average consumer, its development is driven by the application of future technological advancements and societal needs. This is pretty impressive, right? I mean, I'm sure that these guys will give you much more of this, detailed gist. The AI/ML, the way it has grown in last 18 months or so, that also has been very, very remarkable. And this is going to play very important role and it will be a cornerstone of the future 6G development or the evolution of the 5G as we'll call it. Now 3GPP held its first workshop on 6G actually last week. And Bharat 6G Alliance was representing India and we have contributed in terms of creating position, how the 5G is evolving and then what 6G use cases should look like. And there were, of course, the many interesting perspectives which were shared by different stakeholders across the globe in terms of what are the possible use cases and how things are supposed to be evolving, what work needs to be done. And, we are having this conference here this week. So it's very remarkable and I must congratulate the organizers and Shashidharanji, right, to pick this topic and do this at a very, very opportune time. Now, the first set, if you look at, the first set of actual 6G standards are expected to come up in 2029, 2030, right? I mean, so we are still 5-6 years when the first set of 6G standards will essentially be coming along, and of course the networks will come later on, right? And then, but one of the themes which essentially was very clear from that conference was that the native AI, ML, and sensing, right? These will be kind of fundamental to the overall evolution of the technology, which is happening with the 5G advance and leading up to the 6G related piece. And India, I would say, has the, very unique position, right? It is a huge market from a demand side. It is a huge market from a potential supplier side. And it is a huge supplier of the talented resources, as we'll call it, right? So I think India is really well positioned to, I would say, leverage this position while going forward on the evolution of the technology. And we have a wonderful panel over here, which will be sharing the technical insights on how the 5G technology is evolving, what are the future advancements over here, and how it is going to lead up to 6G. There will be discussion on the monetization of the 5G use case labs and how this is going to support the 6G related work items. There is, of course, we have had success. India has a very unique success in terms of the common service centers which are run and how they can be replicated and leveraged for delivering 5G and 6G in future. So I'm quite excited and look forward to these sessions. The only caveat, I think I'll just repeat what I began with. I think the challenge is going to be for these guys to keep you awake throughout the session. So look forward to that part. And to begin with, I would like to invite Mr. Mahesh Baswaraju. Mahesh is an experienced leader from testing, integration, and validation field. He is currently market segment manager, wireless communication, Rohde and Schwarz. Please join me in welcoming him for talk on the word. Theme is on the verge of 6G.
Thank you, Saurabh, and also thank you for setting that context already for me to begin with. So, yeah, of course, we have already talked about the 5G, how it was the first technology shaped around use cases, and also Saurabh rightly mentioned that monetization of 5G has been a challenge for network operators. It is an excellent technology for the consumer domain, but then for the enterprise segment, which is going to pay for the return on investment for the network operators, 5G monetization is important. And in this direction, we have, say, for example, several features introduced as part of release 16, release 17, and also going forward in release 18 and 19, say, namely features like private networks, and also integration of private networks with public networks, network slicing, and also to address the automotive industry with side links, and also, say, for example, for ubiquitous connectivity in the direction of non-terrestrial networks and coexistence of terrestrial and non-terrestrial networks. And also we have RedCap, a new class of devices for massive machine type communication introduced. All, say, for example, are to address the different use cases which could possibly result in monetization of 5G. And going forward, once we have more enhancements on these features as part of release 18 and release 19, then these features will, some of these features will become the founding pillars for the next generation wireless communication technology, namely the 6G. So, 6G, the logo is approved, which is the first step towards conceptualizing something. And here we have the IMT 2030 also documenting the vision and the requirements and the use cases for 6G. So here you say the very famous triangle with EMBB, massive machine type communication, and ultra reliable low latency communication, the three cornerstones of these 5G technology. Now with 6G going forward, there will be an organic enhancement of these cornerstones. Say, for example, on the 6G, you will see immersive communication. Immersive communication where you have more powerful devices like head-mounted displays, the XR devices, which provides you much better user experience. And then there are massive communication, basically increasing the density of IoT devices which can be served within a cell. And then which was ultra reliable, low latency communication now gets scaled up to hyper reliable and low latency communication. So for example, say in 5G we were talking about low latencies up to 1 millisecond. Now we might talk about latencies up to 0.1 millisecond. So whether it is achievable is yet to be seen through the research and developments by the academia and the industry stakeholders. And in addition to these organic enhancements, there are some disruptive, revolutionary topics which are going to be part of the 6G, namely the integrated communication and sensing. Yeah. So here the two worlds which was separate verticals until now, sensing using radar-like technologies or radar signals, and then communication world, they are going to converge to provide an immersive or enhanced user experience. And then AI and machine learning will be integral part of the future network architectures, and going forward, ubiquitous connectivity, like for example, NTN, non-terrestrial network, satellite access node. So this becomes an integral part, again, a native part of the 6G network architecture. So this is the vision for 6G, and of course, while being conscious about the sustainability and being greener, and also security becomes inherent topic which has to be taken care of while we are dealing with all these different technologies. And here, say for example, immersive communication. We talk about immersive communication. What is it? It's about holographic communication, haptic communications, and also extended reality. So here, say for example, holographic communication here within a display or a mobile device with a 6.7-inch display. If you have to achieve holographic communication, then you need data rates as high as 0.5 terabits per second. Yeah? And also there are some other KPIs which are required to realize this extended reality, which is ultimately leading to immersive communication. Say for example, as part of extended reality, this is the big umbrella under which you have augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. So here we have other KPIs like, say, in order to achieve this, you need very high data rates. Yeah, that is given. And then on the other side, you also need to be careful about the latency. Say, as these videos or the content are streamed from the servers to the head-mounted displays, you need to be careful about the latency. Otherwise, there are adverse effects giving you a bad quality of experience when you are using these gadgets. So, data rates and latency. Again, when we are talking about data rates, always we need higher bandwidths, for which we have to explore the higher frequency range. And 6G, of all the different candidates, research candidates which I've listed here, terahertz communication or sub-terahertz communication together with FR3 becomes a key technology which will enable higher data rates, which is required for immersive communication. So here, from Rohde and Schwarz, to realize this kind of test bed, we are ready, and we also have this as a demonstration setup in our booth in the next doors. So here we have generators and analyzers going up to sub-terahertz, which is 110 gigahertz to 170 gigahertz, with which you can experiment if your transmit and receive chains are being designed, developed properly or not. So that was one of the candidates. Then going forward, mixed reality, how do you test it in a lab? So as I said, there is a server and the client, and you need, say for example, here we have the CMX500, which is a base station emulator on a test bench, wherein you can simulate the different real scenarios on the test bench. Like for example, it's a base station on the test bench. And with specialized chambers, you can mount these extended reality gadgets, keep it inside the chamber to isolate the interference from outside world, and then you do all kinds of measurements, including latency, throughput, and so on. So this is how you realize a test bed for extended reality. And this was a glimpse I wanted to just show. And also, so for example, to enable metaverse, what else would we need? Say, for example, we also had one of the speakers highlighting this about the physical layer. So do we need to adapt the physical layer because the cell coverage is not uniform throughout? So that is one parameter, and then the users are also not uniformly distributed. So non-uniform user distribution. And also there is a non-uniform data usage compared to data usage in the morning time to the night. So there is a difference. So to address all this, you might need to change the access scheme. By the way, for every change from an odd generation, like say 1G to 2G or 3G to 4G or 5G to 6G, there has been for every odd generation to an even generation change, there has been a change in the access mechanism, access scheme, and also the waveforms used. So we have to wait and watch if 5G to 6G would also lead to some new waveforms like OTFS, orthogonal time frequencies, space modulation, and also the channel coding. We have evolved from convolution coding to LTPC, polar codes, and what would be the new next generation waveforms and channel coding opportunities we have to we would need to use as part of 6G. So this is something to be watched. Yes, to stay tuned and watch the industry where it goes. And then we also have to realize that communication has evolved, so it is no longer about connecting user A to user B, but rather it's about collecting information, sensing information from a physical world, and use that information or act upon that data which you collect from the physical world using mechanisms like machine learning and artificial intelligence, and use that action to provide an enhanced user experience. So this is about, say, for example, again, the metaverse. Yeah? So we are using communication platform to sense information from the physical world and act upon that data to provide a better quality of experience. So that is the direction we are moving towards. And there I would like to introduce the next revolutionary feature, that is the joint communication and sensing, also called as integrated sensing and communication. And probably use cases you can see on the screen there: gesture control, intrusion and proximity detection, enhanced radar and safety in case of automobile industry, and also for man-machine interfaces, interworking, and so on. So these are some of the use cases, and what we are trying to do here is the base stations or the networks will be capable of sensing data and use that or leverage on that data, and while they are already providing the communication channel, which is the default function of a network. So here we have different KPIs. Say, for example, communication, we know. How do we measure a communication channel, whether it is good or bad, is based on the KPIs like throughput, voice quality, video quality, and also RF performance, EVMs, and so on. And now, in addition, we have something, in addition, that is the sensor channel. So previously, these two used to be two separate, distinct worlds: radar-based sensing and then communication channel. So now we are trying to converge these two verticals in 6G, called as joint communication and sensing. And here, to realize such a test bed, you would need also the communication system to take into account the other KPIs, which is part of the radar communication, which is detection of an object with high accuracy, high positioning, and also high resolution. So to realize such a test bed, you would need, say, for example, the car is an object. So you need something to emulate such an object to see if the designed network can sense that object which is traveling at certain velocity. right? So thereby we have this product called AREG 800, that is the object emulator with which you can realize such a test bed in lab. And machine learning and artificial intelligence, it has been the talk of the a day. It has entered into multiple industries, and telecom industry is no different, no exception. So artificial intelligence and machine learning, through which we would like the model to learn about this communication model, and there are neural networks, autoencoders, which can replace ultimately these building blocks of a communication system. And say, for example, the channel estimation, it could be, or maybe the beamforming functionality, or say, for example, link adaptation according to the channel conditions. So all these functions or procedures which can be trained using a good quality data set, and then ultimately these blocks will be replaced by artificial intelligence. That is what we call in 6G, the AI ML will be integral or native AI based network architecture, right? And so here we also collaborated with NVIDIA, where the neural receivers which are on the GPU from NVIDIA were trained with data sets generated by our generator analyzers, and with which we found that the receiver could perform better by providing data sets and training them with better data quality, data sets quality. And here you see the graphs on the chart here. Say, for example, if today the performance can be gauged with that blue curve. So what we could achieve with properly training these models was the green curve, and the gray one is the ideal, much closer to the ideal situation. So this was also demonstrated in the Mobile World Congress, Barcelona, and this is the first step. And going forward, you need to train, for which you need high quality data sets, right? And we will provide our expertise in this area. And ubiquitous connectivity, that is where the non-terrestrial network comes into picture. So we have satellites or a group of satellites operating at different altitudes like LEO, MEO, and GEO. And here, with the use of satellites, we can address that unserved, uncovered areas by the terrestrial network can be covered with non-terrestrial networks. So thereby with 6G you can expect ubiquitous connectivity, yeah, and giving rise to a number of use cases which can also ultimately lead to monetization of 5G or 6G, yeah. And with that, we also had several speakers talking about reconfigurable intelligent surfaces, where the surfaces are made out of metamaterials, where you can manipulate the impulse response. Say, for example, so far we see the received signal at the receiver is a product of transmitted signal and the channel impulse response plus noise. So we had no control about the channel, and with 6G, when we have this RIS, reconfigurable intelligent surfaces, which are made out of metamaterials, a new kind of material, we can manipulate the signal, and we can, say, for example, create beams in the directions. Once the signals are incident on these surfaces, we can manipulate the signal so that they are directed towards a desired direction. We can direct it towards a desired directivity. So thereby, now with RIS, even the channel is under the control of the user or network operators. Yeah. So there are different products available, and to test such a product, we also have test beds from Rohde and Schwarz, wherein, say, for example, this is a chamber which uses or leverages on the Qatar compact antenna test range, and within which you see the gold-plated reflectors, wherein you can simulate as if the signals are incident on the RIS surface, and if the signals are redirected or reflected as desired. So that is what you can achieve with such a test bed using this specialized chamber called ATS 1800. To know more about it, just visit our booth, and we have subject matter experts at our booth who can explain this even better and in more depth. And then with this, I would say I've touched upon a few of these research candidates for 6G. It doesn't mean that if I have not touched upon some of them, they are not important, but given the time restrictions, so we'll keep it to those revolutionary topics which are very important, which will become foundational pillars, key pillars or enablers for the next generation technology. And Rohde and Schwarz, we are active at various labs which are working on this research activity. Like for example, all these research activities in the Europe. Yeah? And so here Rohde and Schwarz is a contributor to all these projects, as you see on the various topics which I explained so far. And also distributed computing and new network topologies, that is the Open RAN. So this is also going to become native to a 6G network architecture. I think my co-panelists will talk more about this, and where Rohde and Schwarz is also a player there. And yeah. So as also is iterated by many speakers in the morning, collaboration with academia and industry stakeholders is a key for these research activities for next generation technologies, and we would be very happy to bring that experience we have with the European nations and also the other Asian countries which are a bit ahead than us to India. And we want to share this experience, and we have the complete portfolio. As you saw from some of the test beds which I explained, we are ready to address the 6G challenges today. Yeah. With that, I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you so much, Mahesh. I think this was a very packed introduction to 6G and some exciting revolutionary technologies, as you called it. It is really good to know that all the collaboration and the testing infrastructure that you are bringing for enabling 6G. I think maybe we should talk more in terms of what can be done in India, within Bharat 6G Alliance and the other areas. So happy to discuss at some point of time. Thank you so much. Let me now call upon Mr. Rohit Kumar. Rohit is head of R&D at CSC e-Governance, SPV of METI, Government of India. He is a seasoned tech executive with over 18 years of experience, including US. Previously, he was senior director at Walmart, Stanford lecturer in advanced data mining. He is investor at Fortune 500 startups, 4-time CTO and CEO twice. Has 70 patents, 13 research paper and 2 books, and extensive experience in generative AI, machine learning, search engines, cloud computing. And he'll be focusing on the challenges and opportunity in bringing 5G and 6G to rural India and how the CSC can play an important role in that. Please welcome Mr. Rohit Kumar.
Thank you, Saurabh. It has been a great experience just listening to all of you, all my colleagues speak. And, I'm going to touch on a different topic today, which is how to bring and give a perspective of, bringing these technologies to rural India. So CSC was formed with a great vision of being able to deliver digital services to the last mile. And if I, just give a second, yeah. So this is a little bit about CSC. I don't know how many of you are aware, but it is, there are like 6 lakh centers that are physical centers that are spread all across India. And, we have, we are right now just reporting the number of functional VLEs, which we call village level entrepreneurs. Now, these people are there on the ground in the remotest areas of India you can think of. Actually, you won't, there are places where there are CSC centers where the post office is a little farther away. So that is, the nature of this network. My reason of being here is to, tell you, all these telecom partners and, industry people over here, that there's a way we can collaborate and to truly make this 5G and 6G a reality. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. There is a lot of services that, end up being offered through this platform and through, government to citizen services, business to citizen services, and, even business to business platform services. So I'm just going to cover these areas today in my talk, like how can this network actually, in some sense we've been talking about networks, but this is a people network. How can we leverage this network to, bring this technology and learn from what people on the ground are really facing and doing. So you can see over here, like, we spread across 30 states. I mentioned 6 lakh, centers. CSC has academies, that I'll just cover in a bit, but there are like almost 7,000 of those. CSC also runs Bal Vidyalayas, which allows, like teaching at the level of both school and then and there are like 800 plus services that are offered across CSC. As you can see in the map, that all these centers are there spread across India. And basically, the way the services are delivered is through a technology platform, which is again built, owned and operated by CSC. Just to jump into, a couple of ways. So one thing that, we believe that training and upskilling is a key part of making this thing work. So we already, with CSC Academy offers, more than 50 educational programs that are running across India. But now what about being able to train people in the last mile when it comes to, 5G and 6G? Training operators, training people who can, potentially help you troubleshoot, fix things, those kind of trainings. So that is an opportunity, obviously, for collaboration that I just wanted to highlight. Basically, today in our platform, we have, crores of transactions, mobile recharges that are happening today. So that's a great touch point that you can imagine a big part of India, mobile recharges are happening through this. So that's an opportunity to not only position and interface with those citizens who are coming to the centers to recharge their mobiles, but also to develop custom offers and being able to make sure that, that's something we have done with a lot of partners in the past, is basically understand what is a good affordable option to be, to deliver so that this technology gets truly adopted. Because we all know that one part is, of course, the research, but the other part is that you need to have an application, that really drives the adoption. So I mentioned about mobile bill payments and our partnerships across, various telecom providers. So that is definitely there. The awareness about this technology down to the citizen level, that is also possible through these, these networks, these centers. You will see, I'll show you a few pictures of them in a bit. So that's why digital literacy is one way I think we can help. The other way we can really help is infrastructure support. So, as you migrate, as you, spread in 5G and basically bring 6G, one thing I wanted to just add that India is, the Indian consumer is the largest in the world when it comes to mobile data consumption. So which is phenomenal, right? I mean, to think about it, it's higher than US and China or any other country. We are the #1 when it comes to mobile data consumption per user, per person. So this stuff is all being consumed in, all remotest areas of India. So we have these e-Gramin stores, which allows, distribution of various kind of products like, fertilizers and e-commerce products, and people even buy electrical vehicles through this platform in again, the rural part of India. So we are covering more than 10,000 pin codes, and, there are 4 lakh CSC Gramin stores. So imagine now that, whether if you want to distribute equipment for the installation or for the troubleshooting of those networks, that is quite possible. And with the VLEs present over there, they can even help, in taking that to the last mile. I wanted to touch base because, this is critical. Like with any technology, the application, the use drives it. Technology looking for a solution, we all know it doesn't end well. It is generally an application that will drive. So I just wanted to highlight, people don't know this, but we are already running, one major driver of what 5G and 6G would be like Telelaw. Telelaw is a service that allows, government is, supporting this initiative, but we actually allow citizens to avail free legal advice from lawyers. and they can call in. There's a center. They get connected through video and audio. The platform is owned and operated by us. And, happy to tell you that 84 lakh cases have been processed. When the need for more bandwidth occurs, it occurs when the citizens need to upload case details. As you can imagine, things are going digital, so more and more screenshots and, large contract documents and videos. And I'm just talking here and now, I'm not even talking futuristic applications. But as things get more digital, the size of digital data being shared in a secure way with a lawyer is something here and now that we deal with. We also operate a very vibrant tele-agriculture service, again offered and very actively being used, where government-supported people call in, farmers call in, and then they get connected to the scientist. Again, this is a platform where all teleconferencing happens, both video, audio. Here it's very interesting. They actually share images of the farm, of the crop, to get insights into what type of disease it is. So it is happening today. Now imagine if they could do this in a form where they could stream, or they could be able to take their mobile phone on the field and actually show that, okay, this is the problem I'm having. So that is another place where I think the one application driver for this kind of a network. Drones. CSC has what we call as a Udan Academy. It's DGCA approved certifications are provided across. So we have access to drone people we train people to basically be certified drone drivers, and that gives us the opportunity to to leverage the fact, and we've been discussing as a futuristic application that could we process the feeds that come from drones in real time and be able to identify for precision agriculture, and being able to detect like I'll give you one example of an application, very very needy, like crop yield estimation, right? So that farmers insurance is protected under the insurance schemes offered by the government, but how do you generate the claims? So how do you do an yield estimation? Now that is a real problem here and now, and something like that can be done digitally. So there is plus in terms of futuristic applications, there are a lot of IoT sensors again that would be coming through this medium, and we have the platforms and at least the problem to be able to process all that. A big part, again, government's initiative supported by CSC is financial inclusion. CSC, owns and operates DigiPay, which is a big, huge platform for digital, digital enabling, basically cash deposits, cash withdrawals. Just imagine, the top banks can't be in every. It's not economically viable for them to be in every small area. And a worker who goes in the day and he wants to deposit his money, like he earns, whatever wage he did, he can now go, he can go to the CSA center and actually deposit that, because the center next to his house has a biometric device and is equipped to do all that. Plus there are banks. So that is the level. But interestingly, what we are finding with some of our other partners, that CSC can even act as a place to collect cash. So, and be a place where, you can be a financial hub when it comes to things like microfinancing, So finance is a key part of getting any such large infrastructure out there. And that is where I just wanted to highlight this part that, both DigiPay as well as, micro-lending, microfinancing is something that the CSC can help in the adoption of this technology. We also operate a very vibrant, this happens every day, telemedicine, healthcare. We've been talking about those applications happening in CSC centers. But imagine now that if we could actually, make it such that these video consultations could be more real time, as well as if we can, with 6G, this is again futuristic, but with haptic feedback, with 6G, technology enables, and being able to do remote surgeries, right? So those are things in which I hope we get there as a country. But here and now we have the need, at least from a bandwidth point of view, to be able to support, healthcare use cases. And to almost wrap up, what I wanted to highlight, I think, given my background for many years has been in AI and machine learning, I think the latest developments that are happening right now in multimodal AI, I don't know how many of you had a chance to watch the video announcement by OpenAI, GPT-O. If some of you have, you will realize that I think where the future is heading, that people are going to be able to interact with AI using real-time video streaming as well as real-time voice. I have a feeling that that's going to be your big driver when it comes, because where people are, if AI gets to the point that you can talk to it, it can see what your surroundings are, people will start using it for that purpose. They'll turn on their phone, they'll basically turn on their camera, and they'll start interacting with it like a human being. Now that could really be a game changer when it comes to the demand for 5G as well as 6G. And within CSC, we have several AI efforts in the pipeline. AI chatbots being developed for those services I told you, right? Telehealth, law, and so on, to be able to provide AI services. And where CSC can help in AI efforts is that we can partner in developing tools for monitoring and troubleshooting 5G and 6G networks in rural areas. So with that, I just wanted to end my talk. Put my email address over there. Just encourage you to reach out if there is any way you want to leverage this network. This is for the good of the country. And, any questions or things like that. So,
yeah. Thank you so much, Rohit. I would say these were great insights into how probably 5G adoption can happen at the grassroots level, and the CSCs can play a very important role in the entire ecosystem. I'm sure we'll have more discussions in time to come. Thank you so much for this insightful talk. And I'm sure the audience is also wide awake in terms of all these exciting work that you are doing with the CSC. Now I turn to Vikalp. Vikalp Dutt is a technology leader with 23 years of experience in RAN. From 2G to 5G, Open RAN and NTN networks is driven innovation across spectrum. Currently serving as Director of RAN Pre-Sales at Mavenir System, he is championing Open RAN as the future of telecom and advocating its transformational potential. Joining for his insight into evolution of 5G and beyond. Over to you, Vikalp. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thanks to Shashidharanji and the Bharat exhibition for this opportunity for me to be here. And I would like to echo for what you started when we started this session, that, last evening when I was shuffling through my slides, my daughter asked me, what are you going to present today? I said, I'm talking about the 6G, where basically human to machine and machine to machine kind of communication, and that's what it'll be all about. So she said that you gave me a iPhone 4G phone, and then you're talking about such an advanced technology, that keeping it on a lighter note anyway. So today we'll be talking about the evolution of 5G, and 6G is the part of the discussion. So what I want to emphasize over here, as we have heard already from Rohit, there are a lot of use cases he's talked about, and this is how we can see things turning into reality. We used to talk about those use cases in the past. It was appearing to be some theoretical thing, but then it is a reality today. CSC is making it happen. So, all this can be possible. Certainly, the evolution of 5G has to happen. And until now, what we have seen, there is a very high amount of rollout, which we can say India has seen the biggest rollout across the globe, and the number of subscribers are again massive. Now, with this kind of a network, we really need next step, which is where we want to introduce AI/ML as part of the network, and as well as the Open RAN kind of a network architecture, which means we have to have a disintegrated architecture which should be able to distribute the resources and use it on a demand basis, and AI/ML as an integral part of the solution to make it more highly efficient and really, really active, as you can see. So from that point of view, I can show you for the requirement of 5G advanced networks. First of all, we need to have the open AI-based silicon. Basically, the chipsets which are now coming already for the Open RAN systems are enabled with the AI, which is what we can see already. The advance of the chipsets vendors are coming with the integrated AI by design. However, what we can see from the the equipments in the last decade, they really need to upgrade themselves, and which is where I think that will take time. So with the advent of the 5G, the integration of the AI with the chipsets, and on top of it, as we are talking about massive data to be dealt with, where we talk about larger number of subscribers, larger number of database to be dealt with. Here, I think the cloud plays a very important role. Therefore, cloud native nature of the network is really important. And not only the cloud native nature, it has to be cloud agnostic, because here the discussion or you can say the communication has to happen between the equipments across multiple clouds, and that has to be interoperable from each other. With that, we also want to understand today that the intelligent orchestration is also a need of the hour, which means the network has to be programmable. It should be able to provide on a very faster pace of the network orchestration. For example, RIC is the integral part of our solution in the Open RAN, as we can see. It is helpful in achieving lower TCO, and the automation, which is integral part of the solution, brings in the near RT-RIC kind of architecture, and the 5G use cases can be dealt with a very higher efficiency, and that permits the UE scheduler also to optimize the overall scheme of operations. For example, traffic steering, energy savings, and various other SLAs. These are all again part of the intelligent orchestration. And again, the common AI/ML processes will be helpful in the end-to-end network orchestration for the dynamic network management. Like, AI will play a very important role in the computes and communications, as we've heard already from the gentleman from Rohde and Schwarz. And then radio units, RAN softwares, network optimization, all of this have to be really, functional across end-to-end with the help of AI/ML. Apart from that, the Open RAN abilities, which will help us in the saving of energies, that will be very vital for the network requirement, which will actually help us to know beforehand. For example, it will be able to, basis data, basis the history of the information available, it will be able to assess when and how it should shut down the network, and that is very, very vital, because about 70% of the network power consumption comes from the RAN. That is where we need to control the overall power consumption, and with that, AI/ML as a part of the game will be able to assess this requirement, when to shut down the cells, when to actually wake them up. And again, this work of 5G and collaboration with the 4G, that can only happen with the AI/ML integrated into the RAN intelligent controller and the Open RAN capabilities. So I think this is where I see 5G playing a very important role. But then 5G advancement will come as integrated with AI/ML and Open RAN kind of a network architecture. With that, I would like to move ahead to the 6G. Now, what we understand, we have seen so many use cases, we have seen so many requirements which are coming from 6G. 6G is again a game changer. We already have seen that 5G is rolled out. We are yet to realize the kind of investments so far. But then with the advancement of 5G, we also want to see how 6G is going to be playing the important role over here. And India, being the flag bearer of 6G, need to have this kind of integration of Open RAN into the 6G advent from the day one. So basically what I would like to emphasize here is that 6G will need Open RAN kind of a network architecture from the day one. And with that, I would like to basically talk about the top 10 reasons why 6G needs Open RAN. So basically, when we talk about 6G here, we will definitely need multiple vendor ecosystem. Being the open network architecture, multiple vendors can actually collaborate, and they can jointly bring up a network which is programmable, which is interoperable, and that's how it is very, very important to have a multi-vendor ecosystem. Apart from that, a distributed architecture, virtualized network functions, open interfaces, they are all really required, where the compute and the storage will be distributed across the network, and they will all be integrated, and they'll be coordinating with each other on a very faster interface and a very low latency kind of a requirement of the interfaces. Apart from that, disintegration and interoperability across open interfaces is the requirement of the network, where independent upgrade of the network elements can happen, which is again part of the offering which should be required by the 6G. Because you do not really have to deal with all the elements. This massive rollout, it is very difficult to keep a track of all the network elements which is distributed across the network. Apart from that, the front haul interface, which is again the basis of the Open RAN networks, what we can see, the massive MIMOs or the cells, I must say, they will be distributed across the network, and they will all be connected through the open interfaces to these DUs. Now, this kind of a network architecture is again expected through the Open RAN only, and that is where I think what I started by saying, that Open RAN will be the key requirement for our 6G networks. Centralized radio resource management. This is again intelligent optimization of the network, innovative differentiative, and intelligent RAN services. These are all going to be offered through the RAN Intelligent Controller. The current RAN Intelligent Controller will actually evolve. It will further be integratable with all the kind of networks. It has to interoperate with the different service providers, and should make it a very programmable and an intelligent, you can say, central radio resource management network. Openness and programmability is again a key requirement for a 6G kind of a network. You can see that these subsystems will need common architecture, which will be based on this framework, and that will be open and integratable, right? Then talking about the open silicon, as I already talked about in the last session, last part of the section, I mean, the silicon will always be integrated with the AI/ML, which will make the system more advanced, and should be able to have better processes. Cloud native is the requirement of the network, because again, we have to have multiple clouds where the system will be existing, and these clouds should be able to interoperate. That's why the cloud nativeness of the network is vital, right? AI/ML across the entire network and AI as a service should be ready from the day one. Edge computing is again a part of the 6G requirement, which is again what we want to emphasize over here. So with this, I think we should understand that there will be top 10 reasons always be thought about when we talk about 6G, and their Open RAN will play a key role over here. Now, what we want to see over here is that Open RAN already facilitates the key elements. So out of all the elements available today for the 6G, what we can see is shared Open RAN radios and vendors, again, multiple vendors providing the radios for this kind of a network ecosystem, openness of mobile communication, and then distributed architecture, cloud native by design, and native AI/ML communication. These are all elements which will be required for the 6G kind of a network, apart from all the other elements of the 6G networks. Now, where we are contributing and how are we actually participating in this journey? There are new spectrum and real-time AI/ML. So again, the spectrum modulations, we talk about OTFS modulations. Mavenir is already participating in these kind of innovations with multiple universities. And we are developing deeply embedded machine learning kind of a network architecture. Then we are also participating with the wireless innovation towards secure, pervasive, efficient, resilient universities. There are 6 universities basically through which we are trying to come up with network slicing use cases, security use cases where all the open interfaces are being worked out together with them. And this is again in the direction of 6G evolution. Green RAN is again, because again, as I said, it will be energy efficiency is one of the key requirements of such a network, where such a dense network, elements will be existing in the same environment. So the green RAN will be highly important. So platform and their optimization with the energy saving is going to be key focus, which is the area of work for us. Apart from that, non-terrestrial networks is the area where, again, Mavenir is working closely with multiple partners across the globe. And not only that, we are exploring the same in the India market already. So the thing we talk about in 6G is currently available, and we are jointly doing it as part of our support in the globe. That's how it is, what we can say. Again, the kind of focus which we have today for the 5G advancement and 6G, In terms of radio, again, we are integrating the AI/ML in the part of the radio. All the advanced positioning and sensing is integrated as part of the offerings from our side and network slicing as well. And then in hybrid cloud, today the solution which we offer, which is completely cloud native, and at the same time it is cloud agnostic. So you can deploy the network on on any kind of cloud, private, public, or a hybrid. In terms of hybrid in hardware devices, all the new processors with the advanced technology and AI/ML integrated are part of the solutions, which is again which we are working along with our partners today. Similarly, about the network architecture, service enablement, and the trusted security solutions. So pretty much we are in the direction of 5G advanced solutions and 6G, which is again helping in the evolution towards the next journey, next level of telecommunications today. And with that, I would like to close my session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vikalp, for that informative insight. And it's an interesting take how the AML actually can improve the efficiency and the optimization of the existing networks itself, existing 5G networks, and how the Open RAN principles are important for the 6G. So thank you for that part. Now I would like to invite and switch gears in terms of the what's really happening from the government side. Mr. Sanjay Kumar, General Manager and Project Director, TCIL. He has extensive experience of project execution and business development, working on research, consulting, and telecom projects. Privileged to invite him for sharing his insight at the event. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Saurabh. So, in the morning session, we have already discussed about the features, functionality, KPIs of the 5G and 5G Advanced. We'll just discuss few slides on the actual deployment in the industry and what are the functionality requirement for the industry. So this is the timeline for two standardization body. One is 3GPP, another is ITU. If you see release 17 is already there, and the work is going on in release 18. If we see the deployment of standalone non-private, non-public network, release 18 would be the most suitable release for industry. However, the deployment starts and features and functionality would be also supported from release 16. What is the requirement of the industries? The functional requirement, they require a non-public operations, security, which we have already discussed by the previous speakers, time synchronizations, integration with the industrial communication network, TSN support, API support, and the QS monitoring and positionings. The key performance indicators are also from release 16 only. How this is possible? How this 5G is implemented in the industrial scenario. So we have a 5G exposure in the core and also in the devices, which allows monitoring of the device and also the network management. The device sides, it can have a control and sensors, actuators within the device, or it can have a separate. Means the radio, 5G radio will have a separate device, and the actual device of the industry can be also separate or combined. Uh, 5GPP, they have done a study within the stakeholders, and it has been found that most of the features which is available in release 16 at least are applicable for their requirement. The respondents, if you see, 66% were in favor of the requirement of mobile robotics, edge computing, machine learning, industrial IoT, hybrid cloud, and 3D printing. Again, same 33 to 66% in Wi-Fi, XR, URLLC, MMTC, EMBB, those are the basic features, and the TSN, which is specific to the industry scenario. Again, the DetNet, the deterministic networking, which is also very important for the industry. Network slicing, again, because if you see the operation of the industry, they have a separate requirement, and each of the requirement would require different KPIs. For that, the slicing would be required. Network exposure, these are slightly advanced features, and the quantum computing. 33% respondent also were in favor of this technology. Like I said, the network slicing is very important. Any industry, they do not have isolation, they have multiple locations, and all the locations have a similar functionality working. So end-to-end, how to monitor end-to-end. So the slicing is being used, two different networks are there. The core can be implemented in cloud or at one factory locations, and the slice can be created between the two factories so that the functionality or the operations can be monitored seamlessly between the two factories. Time sensitive network. This is a very basic features for industry where deterministic, reliable and high bandwidth, low latency communications are required. This TSN was introduced in 16 and also extended in 17. The TSN protocol IEEE 802 is also adopted by 5G TSN integration, 4 integrations. The TSN translator, this if you see the network, it has a core comprised of the control part and or the user plane and the device. This TSN translator is available in all the 3 places, so that the information can be translated and passed on to end-to-end. Another requirement is the positioning in industrial sector, 3-dimensional positioning of any device or sensors. Positioning requirement is tracking personnels and assets for safety, locations of tools in manufacturing, optimizing supply chains, and controlling automatic guided vehicles. How it is implemented? It is the LMF is implemented at the core level, and the client of LCS is in the device, the sensors, and 3 radios should be available. One is the serving and the 2 neighboring G node B or the radio for creating or finding the position of the devices. We have entered into an agreement with DOT and 100 institutions for setting up 5G standalone network in higher educational institutions. These institutions are IIT, NIT, IIIT, and some institutions of a specific business requirement like textile, pharmacy, security, and others. This lab was developed and it is being implemented. It is funded by Department of Telecommunications. This is to create a competencies and engagement at the institutions level. The engagement, what we were discussing, is between academia and the industry. Here, startups and the surrounding MSMEs, will be having the access of the lab for the development of use cases and testing of the devices what they are creating. This is also to enable them to do some development or making them ready for 6G. These labs are being located to 100 institutions with some deliverables, some responsibilities. So 50 number of institutions and 10 numbers of faculty should be engaged in testing or project development per year. 5 numbers of surrounding MSMEs or startups should be involved for testing project development with the lab. Regarding IPs, 10 per year, whether it is IP, product or solutions, this should be at least 10 per institutions per year. Contribution to a standardization process. This whatever they are preparing the use cases, whatever it is being developed by the institution, that should also go into standards. So that standardized processes should be also, they should be part of body like ITU, TSI and others, so that the contributions or the development is also part of the standardizations. Paper to be published per institutions per year, it's 2. They should also, whatever they have developed in the institutions, whether it is by startup or MSME or the educational faculties, that should be also taken to the field and tested in the field. For that, BSNL and other network operators are providing or facilitating for that. DOT has also approached industry for adopting these labs or the network which is being installed in the institutions. So any industry or any institutions which are interested in adopting or providing mentorship to these labs, they can always contact us or DOT. We are also working on 5G private networks. We have a MOU with the Ministry of Mines and Ministry of Mines in coals and copper. These are the few use cases which we are going to deploy in Ministry of Mines. Traffic control, vehicle monitoring, that is dynamic allocation of dumper loading system, monitoring of payload, engine temperature, tire pressure and fuel level. Also anti-collision system for dumpers to enhance the safety and efficiency of mining. This would be done in combination of sensors, cameras and collecting real data. Monitoring of mine site, stockpiles, spreading of seeds and blasting area. So wherever the mines, the ores are being extracted, that area becomes of no use for the mining. In that, the plantations are done. So that monitoring of the seeds which are being planted, spread, drone can be used, and then the monitoring and the plantation of those seeds can be monitored. Blasting areas for any mines, the blast has to be, coordinated blast has to be done. For that, the drone can be monitored. Through drone, the blasting areas can be monitored. We are in a process of implementing or improving the process automations in copper concentrated plant at Malajkan for HCL. and also increasing the coverage in the campus, which by public network they are not able to get the good coverage. The process automation starts right from the ore, which is being brought and crushed and dumped. So that itself is monitored whether the ore, whether foreign materials are being also carried along with the ore or not. That segregations are done. Once it is brought into a small pieces, that goes on a conveyor belt. The boulder size detections. There are multi-layer of conveyor belts where the sizes are brought down and then taken to a place where the slurry are prepared. So in that boulder size detections are done. Also to see whether any rock bolting rods or foreign materials are available, like rod, SD pipe, or any unwanted material such as cotton waste. Ore label and the volume on the belts are also being monitored, will be monitored. Another operation is ball mill operation, where once this...
Excuse me, Sanjay ji.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think just in the interest of time, requesting you to wrap it up quickly.
Okay.
Thank you.
So ball mill operations, once it is being made in a powder form, it is the slurries are made, and these slurry densities are being monitored through stream density meter analyzers. This slurries, the froth is being made, and the coppers are being extracted through flotation process. So these froth level detections, froth bubble size detections, bursting time, these all are will be monitored. Other preventing the normal operations for preventing the faults, breakdowns, that will be done. The loading management, once the copper is being finally finished, that copper loading management, online monitoring the waste water, that has to be monitored, and they also have to send a report to pollution board, so that can be done online through the network. Whether the functionality which is required for the industry, whether it's available in the indigenous product or not. So these are the functionality which would be required for implementing 5G standalone non-public network. So we need to see whether whatever indigenous products are there, these functionality and features are available in the solutions. TCIL role, yes, we are a project-based consultant, so we take of projects, and we do the requirement study. Based on the requirement study and the best practices available in the market, we suggest the solutions. And right from preparing, designing, and implementation of the networks and SLA monitoring, we take care of everything. Need be, if it is a new solutions, we also go for a proof of concept before the network is, actual solution is deployed in the network or in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjay Kumar. I think there were some insights into, great insights into the Industry 4.0 and how 5G can help, and what is being also done for the 5G testbed and the use case labs. Now I turn over to Mr. Soben Womik. Soben is taking care of the internet exchange at NIXI, because I think this is very important that as the technology evolves, how the backbone of the network gets built up and the internet exchanges keep up with the technology advancements. Over to you, Soben.
Yeah, thank you, Saurabh ji. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thankful to the host of the event to invite NIXI. I assume that some of the audience over here might have know about NIXI. NIXI is a National Internet Exchange of India. It's a not-for-profit organization established by Government of India in the year 2003. It is as the first internet exchange of the country. Since the NIXI has taken the honors of managing India's own domain in .in registries and National Internet Registry for IPv4 and IPv6 delegations. So today's topic is that the evolutions of mobile internet with 5G and the promise of 6G hold significant implications for all the three business units of NIXI. So I will basically touch on the few facts and in a brief. The first is that Internet Exchange, which is a common platform where ISPs and content players exchange traffic among themselves for improving the overall internet in the regions and the country. Currently, NIXI has 77 number of Internet Exchange points in pan-India, and it is the largest IX network. In 5G, the 6G's impact on exchange has in pairing, that is that evolutions of mobile data networks from 4G to 5G and onwards to 6G, which will significantly impact Internet Exchange point and their peering members, including internet service providers and content delivery networks. So basically, it is here's some potential effects that I want to brief. Increase of traffic volume, that is 5G boosts significantly higher data transfer speed compared to 4G. This translates to a surge of internet traffic as users download, stream and upload more data. 6G also promises even greater bandwidth, further amplifying traffic volumes of IXPs. So what is the impact on peering? Impact on peering is that this traffic surge will put huge pressure on existing peering arrangement at IXPs. ISPs and CDNs will need to expand the result is that ISPs and CDNs need to expand peering capacities and optimize peering strategies. That is uploading efficient data exchange, which requires IXP members to increase their potential bandwidth to handle the additional traffic. Regarding the optimizing of peering strategies, ISP might prioritize peering with specific CDNs or content providers to ensure smooth delivery of high demand content. So what is the benefit of IXPs? Benefit is that the rise in the internet, the rise in traffic creates an opportunity for IXPs to attract new members. More traffic at an IXP made it a more attractive propositions for content providers and ISPs, which seeks efficient data exchange. Also, invest in infrastructure, increase revenue from new members, which can allow IXPs to upgrade their infrastructure to handle the growing traffic volume. So there is some challenges for peering members. That is, one is the cost considerations. That is, expanding peering capacity and optimizing the strategies can incur cost to ISPs and CDNs. So there is a technical challenges also. That is managing the peering arrangements, their devices with multiple partners at IXPs, which requires most skilled personnel. So now the role of 6G. 6G with its higher speeds and focus on real applications like AR or VR, AR and VR, which will further amplify these trends. New technologies like networking slices in 6G, which require specialized peering or arrangement to ensure efficiency delivery of data specific for these applications. Overall, 5G and 6G will likely to more dynamic and complex peering landscape at exchange point. So now come to the second business unit, that is .in domain registry. We have now currently 4.1 million .in domain booked, putting up the top 10 country code top level domain globally. We foresee that evolution of 5G and 6G will impact the domain name business throughout. Increased demand for mobile friendly domains, that is faster speeds and lower latency, with 5G and beyond will encourage more internet activity on mobile devices. This will drive demand for domain names that are easy to remember, type and display on similar screens. Business with CCLDs will need to ensure their website and online presence are optimized for mobile users. This might involve responsive design, faster loading times, and mobile-friendly navigations. There's a rise of location-based services, that is 5G's availability to handle massive amount of data which will fuel the growth of location-based services, and this could lead to increased demand of CCTLDs as business target specific geographic audiences. Companies with a strong local presence can leverage CCTLDs to establish a strong online identity within the country or regions. So Internet of Things and domain names, this is related. The proliferations of connected devices in the IoT age will require unique identifiers. Domain names could potentially play a role in assigning and managing their identifiers for connected devices. CCTLD could be used to identify devices located in specific countries, enabling location-specific services and for data management. What are the challenges of CCTLDs and registers? So these advancements will require CCTLD registers to more innovative and adapt their offering to cater to the changing needs of businesses and individuals. They may need to invest in new technologies and services to support mobile-first experiences, locations-based targeting, and potential integration with IoT. Now, the third and last business of NIXI, that is the Indian Registry for Internet Names and Numbers, IRIN. NIXI through IRIN offer both IPv4 and IPv6 addresses and now has close to 4,500 affiliates which have taken public IPv4 and IPv6 for their businesses. While the evolution of 5G and 6G will significantly impact internet traffic and peering arrangement, their influences on the IRIN will be indirect. So there is an increased demand of an IP addresses. So 5G and 6G will likely lead to a surge in internet traffic as user experience faster speed and consume more data. This can lead higher demand for IPv4 and IPv6 addresses, which IRIN managing and delegating within India. So now this is the IRIN roles. IRIN's current function is that IP address management, and which remains as a largely dependent on underlying mobile network technologies like 5G or 6G. However, IRIN might need to adjust its allocation strategies to cater to the potential rise of IPv6 addresses due to this 5G or 6G. This could involve implementing stricter allocation policies to ensure efficient use of limited IPv4 address pool. Also encouraging the adoption of IPv6 to accommodate the growing demand for IP addresses. So overall, this transitioning from 5G to 6G will likely entail not just incremental improvement, but transformating changes, shaping the future of communications and connectivity. So with that, I'd like to thanks to all. You can reach to NIXI, that is nixi.in, or you can email to info@nixi.in for more informations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sovin. And it's important to look at how the back end of the networks needs to really grow with the advancement of technology. I think thanks for a good reminder to that. So with that, actually, we reach the end of this technical session. I'd like to hand over back to the organizing team.
Thank you very much, sir. So we can take two questions probably.
My question is from Mr. Sanjay. So, in your slides, you mentioned 6G is ready for India academia and startup ecosystems. So, what do you mean by 6G ready? So, how you define the readiness?
It's not 6G ready. So it is to prepare for the 6G readiness. These 5G labs are being installed. Readiness for 6G, only these 5G labs are being given to all the institutions, and where the academia and industry will collaborate and work on. Right now, the release 15 is being installed in the lab, and that release 16 will be upgraded subsequently. We have created a space for startups that they should be able to visit to institutions and work on the lab area should be available to them to work on whatever they want to work. So that space is being created. And the release right now is 15. Subsequently, in due course of time, it will be upgraded to 16.
Good evening, everyone. My question is to Saurabh Mittal, sir. And as you are leading one of the largest operator in India, my question will be like in 5G, what do you believe? 5G delivered its promises as of now, discounting FWA? Because we know when 5G use case comes, then FWA has a big role to play. So discounting FWA, what do you see 5G delivered its promise? Second is, as 5G is going to be like 18, 19 will be the last release, or we are trending towards the last release of 5G and 5G Advanced. So going forward, coming to Mahesh, he has mentioned OTFS. So OTFS, if you are bringing in OTFS, then there will be a huge change in the RAN part. So there will be a huge capex change requirement will come in 6G. So is the operator is ready now to invest such huge capex in 6G? So that leads to the main objective of the standardization to 6G, I believe. So please elaborate if you can. Thank you.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for asking. It's a very loaded question, the first one that you asked on. So let me try to step back, right, and then look at what were the promise of the 5G. The first promise of 5G, and if you look at from release 15, was the EMBB, the Enhanced Mobile Broadband. The second was the MMTC, and the third was URLCC. If you look at on the Enhanced Mobile Broadband, I think it has really delivered on the promise. Now, if you look at way back in 2022, October, when the 5G was essentially launched, India was a capacity constrained market, right? Everywhere, you look at, and we lived through this pandemic times, right? The mobile data networks were under a lot of stress from capacity, which was a good thing to have. And 5G, I would say, happened absolutely at the right time to create from a capacity constraint to capacity abundance part of it, right? So I think, and the operators in India actually deployed the 5G at the right time, and it has been deployed with the right generation of the products as well, which are like more efficient and gives huge capacity from that perspective. So I would say that 5G has delivered on its baseline promise of the EMBB. Now, there were many use cases which were also associated, which is, MMTC or URLCC and the industry 4.0. Now, if you go again to the industrial applications, the industrial application is not just creating networks. Industrial application is also creating a wider ecosystem where, you know, the enterprise application has to be able to consume, there has to be devices, sensors who are able to use 5G. From Airtel side, we have done, right, we in 2022 itself, in the automotive sector, we established the India's first 5G network. And we are in terms of, we are implementing as I speak, some of the commercial networks in the private 5G space as well. So things are happening. I think these are moving. We are also working with the academic institutes out of these 100 5G use case labs as to what use cases essentially can happen, right? So I would say that the baseline promise, 5G has delivered a lot in terms of the mobile broadband. In terms of the other use cases, things have started to happen. And it's a good runway that we have for next several years, right, to actually fully realize the potential of 5G, right? If you look at what happened with 4G, things didn't change overnight. I think things will happen with 5G as well. Maybe before Mahesh answers the second part on the OTFS, right, because there was some element of the operators related part. I think it's very early to talk about in terms of the waveform selections. I mean, at least from the operator side, that's the view that we have. The second part is, and I would say that the industry, not just the operators, but also the suppliers also are working very hard to say that how can the equipments be more software upgradable to support these new waveforms or any other changes which probably will come on the 6G related part. And it would look like that in next couple of years, we really will know, because 3GPP is not doing any standardization work till 2026, right? The work will start only after that part. So any new waveform selection, I think, is a big ticket item, but I'll request and hand over to Mahesh for his expert comments on this.
Yeah, thanks, Saurabh. So when it comes to generations of cellular technologies, so I've started in the industry from the 3G days. And we used to celebrate those 384 kilobits per second. Whenever we achieved those throughputs, we used to celebrate that. So now, today, do we enjoy 4G? Do we enjoy the 5G connections, higher data rates? It's all possible because of this drastic change in waveforms or multiple access schemes. So, of course, OTFS is one of the candidate where you need additional capex. But OFDMA is also a strong candidate for going forward for 6G. And there are also, like say, as you see, the technology is going in the direction of facilitating use cases. So depending on the use cases, it can also happen that single carrier modulation schemes can be a right candidate, suitable candidate for that particular use cases. And in which case, single carrier modulation scheme would have additional benefits like power efficiency, and thereby we can't say like, okay, with 6G, OTFS would be the candidate. So it is yet to be evaluated, researched, and that is the task at hand now for the next few years. So I hope that answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's put our hands together for that wonderful session where we had some very insightful and informative presentations. I would now request our session chair, Mr. Saurabh Mittal, Vice President, Network R&D, Bharti Airtel, to kindly do the honors of presenting a token of gratitude, a memento on behalf of the organizers to our eminent speakers. We present to Mr. Mahesh Basvaraju, Market Segment Manager, Wireless, Communications, Rohde and Schwarz. Thank you very much indeed, sir. We present to Mr. Vikalp Dutt, Director RAN Sales Engineering, Mavenir Systems. We present to Mr. Rohit Kumar, Head of Research and Development, CSC E-Governance Services India Limited. We present to Mr. Sanjay Kumar, General Manager and Project Director, TCIL. And we also present to Mr. Soman Bhaumik, Assistant Manager, NIXI. And ladies and gentlemen, we also take this opportunity to convey our gratitude to all our sponsors for extending their wholehearted support to us in organizing this successful event. I would request Mr. Shashidharan to kindly join Mr. Saurabh Mittal in felicitating our sponsors. I would request the representatives to come up to receive a token of gratitude from us. I invite representatives from our sponsors, NOKIA. Somebody's here? May I invite from Syniverse? I invite from Rohde and Schwarz. Of course, we have him on the stage itself. Our sponsors, CSC. Mavenir Systems. To C-Dot. TCIL. Do we have representatives from TCIL? From Anritsu? Kushicoms? Kushicoms? Syrotech? And NOKIA. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for a huge round of applause for all our sponsors, without whose support we would not have been able to put up this good show that we have today. And Mr. Shashidharan to kindly do the honors of presenting a token of gratitude to our chair, Mr. Saurabh Mittal. And may I invite the panel for a group photograph? Ladies and gentlemen, let's thank our panelists once again for that wonderful session we had. I'm sorry we couldn't have enough time for more discussions, but they'll be around with us. And now we would request all of you to kindly remain seated as we are straight away moving to our next session.
We have to start the evening telecom, World Telecom Day also, as the chairman TRI will be here, so that evening the cocktails and dinner can start on time. That's very important after the whole day of event. So we will not have a break now, we'll have break after this session, and then to the World Telecom Day, and then we'll move to the cocktails and dinner. So whole day with us, nothing to be worried, relax and enjoy the technology. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, kindly remain seated. We'll just take a moment more to set up the top table for the panel discussion session. This panel discussion, I would once again like to invite representatives from NIXI to receive their memento, and inviting sir to kindly come up to hand it over. Mr. Shashidharan to kindly do the honors of handing over a token of gratitude to NIXI, our sponsors. Can we have the memento of NIXI on the stage, please? Thank you, NIXI, for extending your support to us. Congratulations.